Whether you think you can or can't, just know you're right. Arrange your mindset and stand at different heights. Yeah, we move the needle. From E to full, move the people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Move the Needle. I'm your host, Randal Rutledge, and today's episode, we're going to do something a little bit different. So if you follow me on social media, I have a pinned post on my Facebook page, and I have a question that says, what should I cover on my next podcast? And people submit different questions, and they've been kind of building up, and I've gotten to where same question has been asked multiple times, and so I want to do my best job of kind of answering that question live and in person with you guys today. Rowdy Fur, shout out to him. He was one of the people that commented, and he wants to know how to build off of the foundation you have built, how to maintain success, and how to multiply it. And this question was asked a couple different ways. Mr. Stephen Curry essentially asked the same question on dealing with everyday life and still maintaining that grind. Once you hit that pinnacle, how do you keep the motivation, keep moving forward? Leela Smith said, I second that. She wants to know more about maintaining consistency as an entrepreneur, and then how to have a good work-life balance. And then Miss Katie Schaefer had a very similar question on how to maintain that motivation throughout your entrepreneurial journey, and then how to manage that work-life balance. So I'm going to break this up into two parts. And first part is, how to stay motivated throughout that journey. And then we'll talk a little bit about the work-life balance. So first and foremost, I'm probably not going to like my response, but it is impossible to stay motivated all the time when you're trying to do anything, and especially as an entrepreneur, because you're going to get hit in the face every single day. And just like, something like going to the gym, you're not always going to feel motivated. You're not always going to want to do it. And that is exactly why discipline is a lot more important than motivation, because if you rely on the way you feel to do things, honestly, you're not going to get a lot done. I don't feel like doing work a lot of times. I don't feel like waking up or going to the gym or even going to the office some days. Even, believe it or not, coming to the podcasting studio, which is something you would think would be a lot of fun. Even anything, right? If I told you, hey, I want you to go drive a Lamborghini every day, right? At first, you'd be like, this is easy. This is fun. I love it. I love driving a Lamborghini. After 30 or 40 days in a row of having to drive a Lamborghini every day, you'd probably get tired of it. And you'd be like, I don't feel like driving my Lamborghini today. Like I have to go drive it for a whole hour. It's going to wear out. It's not going to be fun. And so that's why you can't rely on motivation to do anything, because even things that are fun, enjoyable, as human beings, we just get bored very easily, and we get burnt out, and we don't like to do the same things over and over and over again. It's just not very enjoyable for us. So first off, don't rely on motivation, because it's not going to be there every single day. You have to focus on discipline and creating the right habits. So when you create habits around things, it doesn't take as much willpower. It doesn't take as much of your energy, because your body tends to do it on autopilot. So my biggest recommendation is to set up the right systems, the right processes in your life, to have the right habits where you can do a lot of these things without even thinking about it, without using a lot of willpower, brain power. You can just get a lot of things done. Just have them built into your routine. And when building routines, very important to have consistency, obviously. If you're only doing something 5 days a week, it's actually more difficult than to do it 7 days a week. Because when you're doing it 7 days a week, your brain's getting a lot more feedback and is getting constant feedback that, hey, this is important. This is something that we do, and we do it every single day. So, if you're struggling with some particular area of your life or your business, don't do it 5 days a week and then take 2 days off, because it's almost like starting over every single Monday, and you lose all that momentum, you lose that traction. So best way to build habits is actually around an everyday type of thing, where I'm going to do this every day just for a little bit, not where I get burnt out or I get crazy about it, but it just gets done consistently, and ultimately it becomes a part of who I am. All right. And probably the most important aspect when it comes to maintaining success and maintaining your grind, your motivation, that willpower to kind of keep moving forward, if you will. It has a lot to do with why you're doing what you're doing, right? Think about it. As we grew up as little kids, what do we always ask? We ask why. Your mom says, we have to go here, but why, right? We're going to do this, but why, right? And so it's just programmed into us as human beings as we want to know why. And as adults, we haven't really changed a whole lot. We're just really big kids that look a little older, but we have the same questions, and that's why. And we want to know why too. And if we're doing something that's very monotonous, although it be good for us and good for our business, and it's a good activity, if you will, we still want to understand why. So very important that you explain to yourself why you're doing the different activities that you're doing, and remind yourself almost daily of, why am I doing this activity? What are the benefits of doing this activity, whatever it is that you're trying to do, right? Because we all get burnt out in our lives and in our business, and it's easy to forget, why you're going to the gym, or why you're making those phone calls, or why you're knocking on doors, or, why you're posting on social media, whatever it is that, kind of moves the needle, if you will, in your business, in your life. Over time, we can just forget why we're doing it. So really important to remind yourself of these things. And this is why having a solid morning routine for me is really crucial, because I go over all the things in the morning of what I'm going to do today and why I'm doing it, and what are my goals, what are my, what are the things that I'm striving for in life. And that's always going to keep me grounded and keep me focused, where I can go do the daily work, right? Because the future's not here and the past is already gone. All we really have is the present moment and the day. And all I can focus on is, what am I going to do today to move the needle in my life, in my business? And why am I doing these things? Why is it important to me? I need to stay very focused on that. And I remind myself daily, okay? It's also very important to update your goals and update your why as time goes on, because things are going to change. I remember when I started my insurance business, and my goal was to make $100,000 and live in my hometown. And at the time, I thought that was a really big goal. I couldn't imagine really making six figures and just living in my hometown and having a very autonomous lifestyle, having all that freedom. Seemed like a stretch for me, coming from the corporate world, coming from having a salary job, if you will. Seemed like a big goal to me. And I thought, man, if I can make $100,000 and live in my hometown, I got it made, right? And after 12 months, I had essentially accomplished my goal. And it actually hurt me a little bit, because I said, okay, well, now what? Well, I had to change my goals, and I had to raise my goals in order to kind of get that drive, get that motivation back. And one of the things that I learned is, early on in my journey, my goals could be centered around me, and that was fine. Like, I want to make this much money. I want to live in this house. I want to have this car. I want to have XYZ money in the bank. It was very simple. I just figured out things that I wanted, and I set goals for myself, and that motivated me to achieve my goals. And as I got kind of higher and higher up the ladder, that didn't really work anymore, because I didn't care about Randal Rutledge having a nicer house or having a nicer car or having more money. It just didn't really motivate me. And so I had to pivot. I had to change my goals, if you will. And I started to have to wrap my goals around other people's goals, right? And I made it my goal really to help other people become more successful and get to where they want to in life. And that actually was what I needed. That's what gave me the drive and energy to show up to work every day. It wasn't so I could make more money or so I could have a bigger house or car. It was because I wanted to help other people achieve their goals. And, it's just kind of how we are as humans. It's like we won't do a whole lot for ourselves, but when it comes to another human being, we will walk through fire. We'll do anything to help those that we love. And the biggest tip I can give you is center your goals around people that you love, and center it around helping other people, not helping yourself. Like, if you want to really go far in life and you want to have really big goals, they have to be bigger than yourself. It has to be about helping other people, having impact, and just making a difference in other people's life. That's going to, for one, give you the energy and the motivation, the drive to accomplish your goals. It's going to give you the fulfillment or the reward that you need, right? Because you don't want to do all this work and not get a reward. So you need that reward, and that reward is that fulfillment of knowing you did something good and you made a difference in someone else's life. And so those are the things that really keep me going, keep me pushing forward when Lord knows I don't want to, right? I don't wake up every single day with just full of energy, happy, ready to take on life and wanting to be an entrepreneur and wanting to go through that grind, that struggle, all those problems. No, nobody, I think, if they're being honest with you, they don't wake up every single day like that. But for the most part, I'm able to continue pushing through those tough days because I know it's not just about me. I've got people that are relying on me, people that are counting on me. For me, I'm not a father yet, but I fully intend on, being a father one day. And something I think about of like, hey, you don't have kids, but you're going to have kids, and you want to be prepared for them when they get here, and you want to get your work done. I want to get as much work done as humanly possible right now, so in the future I don't have to work as much, and I have more freedom and I have more time. And that's another thing I have to keep reminding myself is, do I really need to go work 12 hours at this point in my career? Probably not. But if I don't do it, that's just more work that I'm going to have to do kind of later on down the road, if you will. The work's going to have to get done. There's a certain amount of work that I'm going to have to do before I get to check out and I get to retire. And I don't see any reason why spreading that work out over a long time or doing it really slowly. I'd rather just, kind of get it over with, get it done, and move on in my life. So, a big tip or big takeaway there is tie your goals and why you're doing what you're doing to other people. And the bigger the impact, the bigger the why, the more likely you are to succeed and the more likely you are to hit your goal. And so it's all about really stacking up a lot of, kind of like if you're making a pros and con list when you're talking about your goals, right? If you made a list of pros and cons and it was dead even, which way would you go? You could probably go either way, right? And if you start to get in really like a negative mindset and you start to stack up all these cons, like all these reasons why I don't want to go achieve my goals or do what I need to do, then it's very easy to fall the other way and not hit your goals because you're really focused on the negative side of things. But if you really draw a line down the center of that piece of paper and you start to figure out, you give yourself 99 reasons why you should hit your goal and why it's going to help other people and why it's important and how it can impact others and help others. And then you only have a few bad things of it's uncomfortable or it's time consuming or it's difficult or whatever it is. You'll clearly start to sell yourself, if you will, on, okay, well, it's actually, there's a lot of reasons to achieve this goal and not a lot of reasons to not achieve these goals. But if you don't ever slow down and you don't think about these things, you don't write these things down, you don't really make a plan, if you will, it's kind of hard to convince yourself to hit your goals. And it's really hard to have that, if you're relying on motivation alone, it's really hard to have the motivation to go hit your goal. So ultimately, it comes down to having a why and be focused on that and have clarity on where you want to go, why you want to get there, and who is it going to impact, who is it going to help in the process. If you can identify those things and you can remind yourself almost daily and you review your goals, it's really hard to get off track. It's really hard to get discouraged. You may get discouraged temporarily on like a daily basis, but it's just a marathon, right? It's a long-term game, and the only way you lose this game is if you quit. And if you just keep showing up every single day and you're doing your best and you're doing it with a positive attitude, things work out for you and things progress, and eventually you hit your goals. when you hit those goals, don't stop. You have to create bigger goals. You have to create a bigger why, or otherwise you're probably going to lose motivation, right? You're going to lose that energy because after a while, money's not going to motivate you. Houses, cars, material objects are not going to motivate you anymore. You won't care about those things, and it's more of the people. It's more of the impact. It's more of the fulfillment. It's more of the legacy. For me, it's also just honoring my faith and honoring God. I mean, He has blessed me beyond belief, and if I feel like I sit back and I rest on that and I don't do anything, and I'm not out there trying to help people, I'm not trying to make a difference in this world, that doesn't feel good to me, right? It feels like I'm disrespecting God in some way, and want to try not to do that as much as possible. And so for me, that's kind of where I'm at in my life is as for me personally, right? This whole podcast, all this information, all this content that I put out, it's not for me. I don't like being in the spotlight. I don't like people looking at me. I don't actually like being on social media, believe it or not. I'm not the most social person. I'm actually pretty shy, introverted, reserved person, but I've gotten to the point in my life where it's like, hey, Randall, how can you have a bigger impact than you have right now? Well, I get to impact people in my life, people I'm close to, people on my team, people I work with, people in my office that work in my businesses. But that's only a small group of people, 30, 40 people or so. And online, on social media, I can have a much bigger impact. I can help a lot more people. And so, that's why, hey, start a podcast and start going full out on social media and putting out, ridiculous amount of content to try to help people, because it's a platform where a lot of people are at and I can really make a difference. And that's what drives me now, is to show up and record these episodes and record this content for you guys. It's not for myself. If I was just doing it for myself, I probably would have got frustrated and quit a long time ago. But because I know, hey, what if there's just one person out there that you can make a difference in their life and you can help them and you can change their life, then would that not be worth it for you to go through a little bit of struggle, a little bit of sacrifice personally to make a difference in the world and to help other people? I say yes to that. And so, finding those things that drive you and that are important to you is really, really important, because what drives me to my goals might not be the same thing that drives you to your goals. And you really have to identify what fulfills me, what really makes me happy, what makes me tick, what am I about, who am I, and what motivates me. And when you figure that out and you can identify that, then you just align your goals with those things that drive that energy for you. And it makes it a heck of a lot easier to show up day in, day out, put in the work, overcome the adversity, take the punches right on the chin, and keep smiling, keep going, and keep going, doing it again and again and again. Then the other half of the question was somewhere along the lines of work-life balance, and I like how Katie said it best. I'm actually going to read what she said. She said, as someone who has always admired your success and learned from you, I'd love to hear a segment on successful work-life balance. It's always been a struggle to be a working mom with goals to be the best mom I can, but also giving 150% to be the most successful I possibly can at my career. Setting good example for my family, but also giving them the time they deserve as well. Often I find I'm thriving in one and failing at the other. I know many others struggle with this too, so I thought it would be interesting to hear your take on it. And this is not what you call a layup or a softball. This is more of a curveball. It's not an easy one to answer. And the first thing that I'll say, Katie, is I think everybody experiences that when I'm on fire in my health and fitness, my business is always down a little bit. When my relationships are peaking and just wonderfully beautiful, maybe my health isn't as good or my finances aren't as good. So it is extremely difficult to juggle all the things that we have to juggle in this life, and especially as an entrepreneur, right? Because you've got your business, you got your employees, you got your clients, you have your health, you have your relationships, you have your finances, you got taxes. You've probably got other organizations that you give time to, and you got a lot of people pulling on you, and then you've got adversity and life's problems and just everything that can happen to you. So I don't want anyone to think that it's easy or that everyone has it together all the time. Lord knows I don't. I'm trying to get everything together, right? Just like everybody else. It doesn't always happen. And just simply sharing some things that have worked for me and that I have implemented that have improved my life, or moved the needle, if you will, in my life and in my business. But to answer your question, Katie, I think that it's never going to be perfect. Life is never perfect, and you really just have to do your best, and you have to give yourself credit. This is really, really important. You have to give yourself credit for trying and for being a good person and for just attempting to do all of these different things, to be a mom, to be a fantastic mom, to be an entrepreneur, to be a great spouse, a great friend, so on and so forth. But I think what it comes down to, more importantly, is time management. It's your habits. It's what you do on a consistent basis, and it's setting up a life that you're really happy with and that is sustainable. I feel like a lot of people, they just kind of go through life and they just kind of make the best of it every single day. They never stop. They never analyze. And they never say, what do I want? What makes me happy? What takes away my energy? What derails me? Like, what are some things in my life that I can eliminate that are holding me back and really killing me? And they're not things that I want to do. And what are some other things that really bring me joy, bring me energy, bring me happiness? Who are those people? Where are those places? What are those activities that really help me and energize me? Okay. And so you have to find a relatively balanced schedule on, eliminating first off the bad things that are taking your energy, right? For a lot of us, it's alcohol, it's bad food, it's lack of sleep, it's lack of exercise, lack of sunlight, maybe, lack of interactions with our loved ones or our family. And we have to make some changes there. And then we've got to figure out what are some other things that give me energy and bring me joy and bring me happiness. And for me, those are kind of the opposite things of working out, eating healthy, limiting the alcohol, getting lots of sleep, and doing my affirmations, doing my goals, doing my morning routine, just doing the things that I know I need to do. They actually energize me physically and mentally, where I can take on a bigger workload. And that's important. If you're going to be an entrepreneur and a parent, I'd imagine you have a pretty big workload, and physically and mentally, you need to be prepared for that. And a lot of that has to do with what you consume, right? What you consume mentally, what you consume physically, and how you take care of yourself is going to determine your energy levels, your mood, your outlook, your perspective, and just the amount of time that you can work, right? If you can only work about 4 hours and you're mentally and physically exhausted, it's going to be hard to be a badass entrepreneur, a great mom, a this, a that, to be all these other things to all these other people. I find that's going to be difficult if you're not at least physically and mentally, trying to take care of yourself and give yourself, putting the right inputs in your body, so you can have those correct outputs and you've got the energy to go create your goals, right? I think that taking time is extremely, extremely important. I'm a person that I can get wrapped up in business and I can work like a crazy person, and I can neglect myself and I can neglect my relationships at times. And when this starts to happen, even though I'm putting a lot of work into my business, it's not really moving. It's not moving the needle like I want. And I have to stop. I have to pause. I have to slow down. I have to reflect. I have to go spend time in nature, spend time with God, spend time with people that I love, and really just kind of get recentered, refocused on what's important in life. Not overdo the work stuff, but not underdo the work stuff either, because I don't want to just have a lot of fun and spend a lot of time with my family and not go anywhere in life and never get to a point where I'm fully autonomous, where I don't have to work or trade my time for money. And so it's a combination of really taking care of yourself, having a good strategic plan of life and say, hey, these are the things that I like to do. These are the things I want to do. These are the things I need to do, and figuring out a schedule on how do we incorporate all of these things into my life and into my lifestyle, and then do our very best to hit them consistently. And once again, Katie and Leela and then Stephen Curry all asked about that work-life balance. I may not be the best person to ask this because I do work a lot, but I also enjoy working. I enjoy entrepreneurship. So a lot of the things that people view as work, I really view as fun and things that I like to do. And so the grind or the hustle isn't so bad for me. I guess I was blessed where God kind of installed this standard issue on me, where he knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, and he knew that I would have the skills and the perseverance to do it and overcome stuff. So a lot of things that people look at as work, I look at as fun and just things that I really enjoy doing, because I enjoy entrepreneurship. I don't enjoy all aspects of it. There's a lot of things that I do that I don't want to do, but I need to do, right? Whether I need to do it for my business, or I need to do it for my health, or need to do it for my relationships. Doesn't mean I always want to, but I do my best to get that stuff done. And I feel I'm able to do that because I have a nice work-life balance. I mean, for example, today's Wednesday, and on Wednesdays are my creative days. I only do social media content creation. I record my podcast. I'm not in the office. I don't do any insurance at all. So this is like a no insurance Wednesday for me, if you will. And it's a day that I get to kind of relax and be myself and take a break in the week. Still get a lot of work done that I need to do, and do all my content creation. And I have date night every single Wednesday, and it's a part of my routine. Those are two things that give me energy, right? Going on a date on a weekly basis with my spouse, it really says, hey, this is important to me, this is important to you, and we get to show up every Wednesday, and we get to connect and really spend some good time together. With my, social media Wednesdays, it gets me out of the office. I don't have to think or crunch numbers as much or do insurance, stuff like that. I get to do more creative stuff of creating content, recording videos, and doing podcasts. And that's just a small example of kind of how I've structured my week or structured my lifestyle, where these are things that I do. These are non-negotiables. These are things that give me energy and kind of breathe life into me, if you will. Keep me energized to keep going, where tomorrow I can show up back at the office and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to put in another, 12 hours of work, and I don't feel so burnt out because I'm getting a little break, and I've kind of designed my life around what I need to do, what I want to do, what I like to do. I make sure I do all of those things. There's 7 days a week, 24 hours in a day. We have a lot more time than we really give ourselves credit for. A lot of times it's misuse of that time. It's poor time management. It's poor planning. You've all heard the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Big firm believer in that. And you need to plan. You need to have a schedule. You need to have a routine. You need to have habits. You need to have different environments that you do different things, and you can really get into a good groove. You can really settle in. You don't feel overworked, overstressed, because you've built a schedule that you can maintain for the long haul, right? Every now and then, if I need to hit a big goal, of course, I'll ramp up my activities. I'll change my goals. I'll kind of move some stuff around where I'll do a little less of this and a little more of that. I think you're constantly throughout the year, throughout your life, you constantly kind of have to change the dials a little bit, because sometimes I need to focus more on my health. Sometimes I need to focus more on my finances. Sometimes I need to focus more on my spiritual journey. And sometimes I need to focus more on my relationships and then business. And so I just try to pay attention. I try to pay attention to myself. I try to pay attention to how my life's going. And if I need to make some adjustments, I make adjustments along the way. But either way, I never go through life without a plan. I never, go through a week without a schedule. I'm always generally going to know what I'm going to do, when I'm going to do it, who I'm going to do it with, how I'm going to do it. And just having that structure and having that plan takes away a lot of the anxiety, a lot of the surprises, and then it just makes me more efficient with my time. And so I'm able to get more work done. And I don't just mean work on work, I mean work on myself, work on everything. And so I just have more time and more energy essentially to accomplish the things that I want to do, to build that very well-balanced lifestyle, that real balanced work-life balance. And one last note before we close out this episode, I will end with kind of the same message I always end with, but it comes down to you taking care of yourself, right? If you're not taking care of yourself and you're not loving yourself, and you're saying, I want to work out, and then you don't work out, or I want to do this and you don't do that, you're constantly lying to yourself, and you're not being congruent with who you are. You're not being congruent with your identity or who you want to be. And all these lies, they just weigh you down, and they kill your energy. They kill your vibe. Because it's almost like you can't trust yourself, right? Because everything you say, you're kind of lying, and you're being bad to yourself. You're putting bad foods, bad alcohol, bad relationship, toxic energy. You're not getting the good stuff. You're not watching good YouTube videos or podcasts or reading, doing affirmations, goals, positivity. And so, like, when you're not taking care of yourself and you're not loving yourself, ultimately that's just going to drain your energy. It's going to drain your confidence, drain your mood. And it's very hard to have any type of balance, much less a work-life balance, trying to be successful and have a happy personal life at the same time. And a lot of our problems are more symptoms than root issues, if you will. And you always want to look back to the root issue. And the root issue, a lot of times, more times than not, is we're not being honest with ourselves. We're not taking care of ourselves the way we should. And we start to be honest with ourselves. We start to take care of ourselves. We have more time. We have more energy where we can do more, accomplish more, and create that work-life balance and create that consistency of keep going day in, day out, grinding out as an entrepreneur and just moving the needle, moving forward in life. I think that's what it comes down to is loving yourself, taking care of yourself. So, guys, hope that this helped you. I sure appreciate Katie Schaefer, Stephen Curry, Rowdy Fur, a couple others that reached out on the Facebook post and asked some questions. And feel free to ask more questions. I'm going to leave that post pinned to the top of my page, so anybody can ask a question. And once the question gets asked 3 or 4 times, I will periodically come on here and do my very best to answer those questions for you guys. And hope you enjoyed today's episode. As always, please like, subscribe, and share. Share being the most important part of that topic, because I want this to get out there. I want this to get to the people that need it. Most likely you have somebody on your friends list that is struggling and needs a little bit of help, needs some words of encouragement. Maybe they're feeling burnt out as an entrepreneur, and quite possibly the information that I shared today could help them on their journey and help them in their life and help them move the needle in their life or in their business. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Love you. Bye.
Whether you think you can or can't, just know you're right. Arrange your mindset and stand at different heights. Yeah, we move the needle. From E to full, move the people. From move the needle.